Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your Baltimore Sports Podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we are going to be recapping the Ravens 2026 NFL Draft. The Ravens made 11 picks in this draft. We're going to be recapping the draft picks, going to be recapping who I like, who I didn't really like, my overall thoughts on this draft as a whole. And I'm just going to come out and say it now. I am very, very satisfied with this Ravens draft. There's really only one or two picks that I would kind of question a little bit, and they both happen to be playing the same position that we drafted. So very, very interesting draft. Lots of very fun players, especially here. These first four at the top here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them. But we're going to be going over this draft. Obviously, the last video we talked about the Vega Ioane pick, talked about what I loved about it. You know, obviously this has been someone that I have been very much vouching for to be the Ravens' first-round selection. He ended up being the Ravens' first-round pick. I talked about over and over again how if they go offensive line round one, they need to focus on wide receiver and edge rusher the rest of the draft, and kind of vice versa. If they went edge round one, if they went wide receiver round one, then you kind of just vice versa the other scenario. Depends on who we drafted in the first round. So Vega Ioane was the first round pick for the Ravens. Obviously, it was an incredible selection. But I want to go over and talk about the rest of these guys that were picked in day 2 and day 3. So going over here to Ravens.com, this is like the Ravens draft tracker. Shows all of the picks that the Ravens made during this draft. Obviously, starting off here at the top, Vega Ioane. This is the guy that was most commonly mocked to the Ravens at number 14. We already made an entire video talking about Vega, how important this player is going to be. He's going to play such a big role for the Ravens this upcoming season. I'm sure he's going to come in and be that starting left guard for the Ravens. It's going to be incredible. I'm so excited for Vega. His interview and his press conference was great. He brings a killer mentality to this team that I love, and you love to see Vega Ioane being a Raven. It doesn't really feel like shocking or like different, if that makes sense. Like if this was Ruben Bain, I would be pretty shocked because I didn't think that he'd fall to us. And I'm sure the Buccaneers right now are over the moon about Ruben Bain because they also didn't think he was going to fall. But with Vega Ioane, like he was mocked so much to the Ravens anyway, and I already was in my mind it was already penciled in that Vega was like the most likely pick, and also he was just like my number one option in my mind. So for months now, I've already kind of been on the fact that Vega's going to be a Raven, and now that it's true, it's not really crazy or anything. I don't really feel any like obviously I'm extremely happy, but it's not like I'm not like over the moon like, oh my god, I can't believe we got Vega. Like it kind of just feels normal in a way. It's kind of been penciled in for a while that Vega was going to be a Raven, and now that he's a Raven, it kind of just it's like a big relief off your chest knowing that something is actually like I don't have to worry about us taking a Kenyon Sadiq or someone like that. But going over to round number 2, we had one pick in round 2 and one pick in round 3. This is day 2 of the NFL draft, which I didn't go over. I wanted to go over the whole draft as a whole after round 1. So the Ravens in round 2 got an absolute steal in Zion Young, the edge rusher out of Missouri. He's incredible. He's an incredible player. I am so happy the Ravens drafted this guy. Incredible stuff. We went over this yesterday. We went over the Zion Young pick yesterday. We also went over the Jacoby Lane pick yesterday as well. Incredible stuff from the Ravens. Incredible day 2 picks. And now going over day 3 of the NFL draft, where the Ravens made quite a few picks. They made, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks on day 3. I'm going to quickly go over some of these picks. I do really quickly want to talk about the first pick that they made today, which was Elijah. Rounds 2 and 3 yesterday, rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 were today. The first pick they made today was Elijah Surratt. He is the wide receiver 2 for Indiana. He was the wide receiver 2 for the Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza. And also, if you look at kind of the order that the Ravens drafted people in, they went Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt in back-to-back picks. That is back-to-back wide receivers that we drafted. And what I will say is that Declan Doyle, Jesse Minter, Eric DeCosta, they have made it very clear that the Ravens are going all in on drafting receivers for Lamar, giving him weapons. We obviously gave him protection in round 1, getting him Vega Ioane to be that starting guard. And then when you look at the rest of the picks we've done, obviously you go out and get best player available, which was Zion Young at the edge. You go and get Jacoby Lane, big body wide receiver, contested catch guy. And then in the start of round 4, you get another big body-ish receiver, another touchdown machine. Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane are two guys who can really help with converting in the red zone, which when you look at the Ravens season last year and how poor they were and how awful they were at converting in the red zone, these guys are perfect for that situation. And that's why when I see people complaining about Jacoby Lane, he's going to play a certain role for this team. He's going to play a role for the Ravens. Again, he's not going to have to be wide receiver 1. He's going to play that contested catch on first down or third down role and someone that we can just go to in the end zone and hope that he can make a spectacular catch. Elijah Surratt is very much the same way. I actually like Elijah Surratt as a wide receiver more than I do Jacoby Lane. I think that they could have probably easily flip-flopped these guys. I don't know if Jacoby Lane was going to go around 3. I trust Eric DeCosta that probably someone else would have taken him, but I think just the player in Jacoby Lane and his tape and stuff like that, that's why Eric DeCosta really wanted to go him. But Elijah Surratt is an overall great receiver. I mean, great route runner, great in the end zone, someone you can really target in the red zone, which is, again, something that the Ravens struggled with a lot last season. He's also from Baltimore. He went to high school in Baltimore. So this is kind of a full circle moment. I really wasn't expecting to get Elijah Surratt. He was one of my favorite receivers in this draft. I feel like he's kind of a do-it-all type of guy. Good size, good speed, good hands. Just an overall very decent receiver. Kind of similar in a way to Zion Young, where Zion Young can kind of do everything at edge and linebacker. Elijah Surratt, he's kind of got all the tools to be a great receiver in the NFL if we give him opportunities, which I think we will. When you look at the wide receiver room as of right now, you have obviously Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Devontae Walker as the 3 guys that were there coming into the draft. But now you've got Zay, Bateman, Walker, and then you also add Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane. So that's 5 pretty solid receivers for the Ravens. Obviously also LeJontay Wester, who's probably going to be doing punt returns and stuff like that, which is what he did last year. But you kind of have 5 solid receivers. It'll be interesting to see going into the year who's going to compete for that wide receiver 3 spot, because unless the Ravens add a veteran-like guy, like a Stephon Diggs or something, which I still think is possible, I'm a little bit less confident in that now because we took wide receiver twice in this draft. And they're all wide receivers that are serviceable as well. So we'll see, again, who ends up competing for that wide receiver 3 spot. We'll see if the Ravens go into the year with 5. We'll see if all these guys make the team. I'm sure Surratt and Lane are going to make the team, but this does make me think that Rashad Bateman could potentially be on the move. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I do think that it's possible that Rashad Bateman is on the move, because I mean, you're going to have Zay Flowers, which obviously he's going to get a lot of attention. You've got Zay Flowers, you've got Rashad Bateman, who I don't even know is going to be there. But other than Rashad Bateman, you have Zay Flowers, you have Devontae Walker, who you want to see get more opportunities. We've seen what he can do when he gets the ball in his hand for the Ravens before. He's obviously another touchdown machine, someone who just really needs a chance to kind of shine and grow in an offense and just have an opportunity. And we heard Declan Doyle vouch for Devontae Walker before, saying that he wants to give him more opportunities. So other than Rashad Bateman, you got Zay Flowers, Devontae Walker, and now Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in the Baltimore Ravens offense, along with tight end as well, which the tight ends have 4 tight ends in the tight end room. You have 5 receivers, really 6 receivers in the receiver room. So you have a lot of players. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, which is obviously a good problem to have. It's obviously good to have a lot of weapons, but I'm sure that Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane are going to get their chances on the Ravens, which is I don't see either of these guys not making the team. So that does put the question in are we going to release Rashad Bateman? I think it's possible that we trade Rashad Bateman and sign a Stephon Diggs, and then guys like Lane and Surratt can learn, and even Devontae Walker can learn behind Stephon Diggs, because again, and obviously Jacoby Lane or Elijah Surratt going into the year, one of these guys are not going to have a big role for the Ravens this season. So it'll be interesting to see the wide receiver 3 and 4. Obviously, as of right now, the 1 and 2 is Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. But when you look at the wide receiver 3, I mean, it's going to be a competition between Devontae Walker, Elijah Surratt, Jacoby Lane. I think Devontae Walker is going to win that job just because he's been here. But I don't know, man. I have a sneaky feeling about Elijah Surratt, man. I think he's probably my second or third favorite pick that the Ravens made in this first round. There's a lot of picks that I love that the Ravens made, but Elijah Surratt is definitely in the top 3. I think my top 3 favorite picks of this draft for the Ravens, probably Vega, then probably Zion Young. I like getting Zion Young was a steal in my opinion, but I don't know. Vega and Zion Young are there, but Elijah Surratt is one of my favorite picks of the draft for the Ravens. Definitely like a top 3 pick in my opinion for me. Loved the player, really glad that he's here, and obviously in my opinion he was probably best player available at this point. Then the Ravens actually traded up 20 spots at pick 133 to draft Matthew Hibner, who is a tight end out of SMU. He's got good size. He's got good speed. The speed is the big thing that was very interesting for him. Plays a lot of games. He's played all over the field. He's played in special teams. He's played as a reserve. Played with Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter obviously was on the defensive end, but he was on the same staff as Minter when Minter was at Michigan and with Hibner was a freshman. But Hibner, he got a chance to shine at SMU. Solid player, solid receiver. I was really upset that they drafted him initially, and this is one of the picks that I'm a little bit concerned about because there was a guy named Justin Jolly on the board who I really liked, a guy named Michael Trigg out of Baylor that I really liked over Hibner, and I was really surprised that they got him. But again, when it comes to Eric DeCosta, and especially when it comes to Declan Doyle, I do trust them to kind of find tight ends to produce. Like, not a lot of people knew who Isaiah Likely was out of Coastal Carolina when we drafted him a few years ago, but now everyone knows his name. So, Matthew Hibner, hopefully Declan Doyle and, this offensive staff in general can really get him going. I think he has potential. He does have a lot of potential, but he definitely is more of like a raw prospect, I would say. Then going over to pick 162 for the Ravens, it was Chandler Rivers, a corner out of Duke. A little bit small, 5'9", but he is a incredible slot corner. Absolutely incredible slot corner. This is someone who could potentially, be in a way like a day one starter. Like, he might take reps away from Marlon Humphrey. You obviously have Nate Wiggins out there. You've got Marlon Humphrey out there. And then you have guys like Chidobe Awuzie and TJ Tampa. And now you're adding Chandler Rivers to that cornerback room. I think he's a great player. Very underrated player. Very fast. Lots of acknowledgments from a lot of people around the league, but Chandler Rivers is definitely a beast for this team. One of our staff members who worked with cornerbacks in college at Duke actually probably recommended this guy, but he was a steal. I mean, he fell to the Ravens. He was supposed to probably be maybe a 3rd-round pick, but most likely a 4th-round pick, but he actually fell to the Ravens in the 5th round. They took him. He was best player available. An undersized corner, very similar size to Nate Wiggins. But obviously you have Nate Wiggins, you've got Marlon Humphrey. But I do think guys like Chandler Rivers, and I don't know if I believe in the TJ Tampa stuff anymore. He hasn't really proved too much yet. And Chidobe Awuzie is obviously older. So Chandler Rivers can really, he's going to get his opportunities this year because I think that Marlon Humphrey's snap count and just his usage rate as a corner is just going to decline this season. So I could definitely see Chandler Rivers getting some good plays. So this is a sneaky good pick for the Ravens. It was a steal, acknowledged by a lot of different people. But I can see him taking snaps away from Marlon Humphrey. I think this is a great pick. Next up is Josh Cuevas at pick 173 for the Ravens. They had back-to-back picks here in the 5th round. And this was the most concerning pick, in my opinion, for the Ravens. This was the one pick that I was like, what are we doing? But what I will say is that he does play for Bama. He did play for Bama. Played for Bama, big-time school. Obviously, SEC tested, college football tested. Decent size, a little bit smaller than you would like for a tight end. But he's got a lot of heart. He had a pretty big foot injury at the end of last season, which I think also caused the slide a little bit. But he was, a pretty good guy for this Alabama offense with Kellen DeBoer, and Ty Simpson. So solid player. But both the tight ends I had a couple tight ends that I really liked in this draft: Eli Stowers, Oscar Delp, Justin Jolly, Michael Trigg. And we didn't end up getting any of them. They got Matthew Hibner and Josh Cuevas to add to the tight end room with Durham Smythe and obviously Mark Andrews. So there's a lot of people that think that the Ravens have a deal already in set place with David Njoku, which will be interesting in the next few days if they sign him. But then we'd have 5 tight ends in the room. I guarantee you right now, one of either Josh Cuevas or Matthew Hibner is not going to make this team. We're not going to go into the season with 4 tight ends. And Durham Smythe is someone who has connections already with Declan Doyle, and he's going to be he's coming in purely to be a blocking tight end. And obviously Mark Andrews is going to be the starting tight end. But when it comes to the tight end 2, really, in terms of receiving, it's either going to be Cuevas or Hibner unless we get David Njoku. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. All I know about Josh Cuevas is he has a big heart and that he is a fighter in this league. Next up is Adam Randall. Fun fact about this pick is that Steve Bisciotti actually made this pick for the Ravens, which is really funny. He did a bunch of research on this guy apparently, and he liked him, so we ended up taking him. He's a 6'3" running back, 232 pounds. Very similar stature to Derrick Henry. He ends up going to the team, obviously, that has Derrick Henry in the Ravens. Pick 174. He was the running back out of Clemson. Kind of a gadget guy, can do everything. He can catch the ball well for his size. He's a good sized running back. So I think learning behind Derrick Henry, and he even acknowledged that Derrick Henry was one of his idols growing up. So him getting to learn behind Derrick Henry in that running back room is going to be really great for him. So he's got some potential. I do, kind of like this pick as well. Next up is Ryan Eckley, the punter, at pick 211. The Ravens obviously didn't have a punter because they let Jordan Stout walk to the Giants. He reunited with Harbaugh in New York, and we didn't have a punter, and we ended up going out and drafting the punter that led all of college football in net yards per punt. So we went out and literally got the best punter on the board, which is great. I'm not going to say too much about this pick. Hopefully he can go to the NFL and do his thing, but this is going to be the starting punter for the Ravens this season. Going to the final 2 picks, we got Rayshawn Benny, defensive tackle out of Michigan. This is someone who has familiarity with Jesse Minter, which is really cool to see. He literally was a part of the national championship team in 2023. He is familiar with Jesse Minter, which is really, really great to see. Also is familiar with Lou Esposito. So Rayshawn Benny got a defensive tackle. Really wanted them to get at least one in the draft because obviously the whole Matabike situation. He's supposed to come back. We obviously got good news about him, but I do want a little bit of insurance for Matabike just in case anything does happen. You obviously have Travis Jones there and stuff like that. But Rayshawn Benny, solid pick, in my opinion. For a 7th rounder, this is a steal. This is someone who could make the roster. Obviously, it's all going to kind of depend on where Matabike's health's at, but this guy has familiarity with Jesse Minter. He knows what he's all about, so I do love this pick here. And then Evan Bernstein, guard out of Northwestern. All that I've heard about this guy is that he is a physical, tough asshole. That is what I've heard. I've heard he's an asshole in a good way. I've heard he's an angry player, someone who really is competitive and wants to win. So I think this draft is all kind of tied together with players that are very competitive, while also mixing in some fun picks in there, like Jacoby Lane's a fun pick and Elijah Sarratt picks. These 2 receivers, in my opinion, can play huge roles for the Ravens for this upcoming season and in the next couple of years as well. I think these guys have a lot of potential here in rounds 3 and 4. Zion Young, pairing him with Mike Green and Trey Hendrickson is going to be great. The tight end room obviously is going to be interesting. We'll see if we get David Njoku. We'll see how the tight end room fills out, but not sure I love it right now. But again, we'll see how everything develops as time goes on. The draft just ended today. I'm not going to sit here and say that the team is ready for the Super Bowl, ready for the season or not. Obviously, we play games in September, so there's still quite a long time until the Ravens plays games. But I am very, very happy with this Ravens draft. Very happy with it. I would probably give it an A on the dot. Not an A-, not an A+, but just an A on the dot. Not even being biased. Love this draft as a whole. The Ravens and Eric DeCosta always seem to cook with the draft, so hopefully these players can translate over to the NFL level. But thank you guys so much again for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to click the link in the bio to check out the Twitter and the Instagram. I appreciate y'all so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. We're going to be going over the Orioles series tomorrow, whether they win or lose. There's a rubber match game tomorrow. They lost 17-1 today. I'm not even going to go over that. We're going to go over the game tomorrow. Hopefully they win the series. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. You have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.